Hey, so I'm taking a look at your model here. Really, low poly and high poly don't have a definitive answer. It's not like 7 edge loops is low poly and 8 is high poly, but the main thing is you're going to want to create both of them from one another. So it's up to you which route you want to go. If you like your low poly, I think we could adjust this one to become high poly and even more low poly. So if I look at this, you've created, nicely the shape, but we have these edges here. I'm going to go into edge mode and double click to select it that stop. They're not affecting any of the piece. So I would hit Command or Control and then delete there. Now, why did I hit Command or Control? Because it removes the vertex with it. If I forget to do so let's take this one. If I just hit delete, if I go into vertex mode, you can see the vertices are left behind. So it's really important that we do Command delete. So I would just go through edge mode, and clean this up. Now you might be saying, but this doesn't look smooth or rounded like I wanted it, and that's completely fine. We're keeping it lower poly. This is made to be a less intense object. It doesn't have a lot of details, so in game it takes less time to load, etc. All right, so I would make this your low poly model. We can go into object mode, and I can go to UVs. This is a pretty cylindrical object, so I would do cylindrical and look at our UV editor. So, maybe this works, maybe it doesn't. I don't really love the way that looks. I think what you had actually worked better. So we can go automatic and check our UV editor. Now, automatic is going to give us a bunch of seams. So it's up to you to kind of decide how you want it. Maybe we do, I'll go back to my cylindrical, but then I will select the top and do a planar. And I can select the bottom and do a planar. And then when I go in the editor, I just need to make sure they all fit in the UV space. So I'm going to right mouse click and hold and go into UV shell and move these all over. And just scale these down so that everything fits and has its own space. Might need to scale this one down a bit more. Gotta make room. And we don't want to have any overlap. That looks good. And then I'll scale this one down and move this down. However you would like to do this, that is fine. But to me, that's a pretty good looking UV unwrap. Okay, so now I would save this out. This is your low poly model. It's unwrapped. You can do your textures. But now for the high poly part. So thinking about adding some details. And again, this doesn't have to be a crazy difference, but we could look at our mesh tools. Go to the modeling toolkit over here. And maybe we want, actually I'll just do insert edge loop, which you could do over here, but and then we can click and drag, and you can start inserting. Insert edge loop, you click on an edge where you want it to be perpendicular to. You can click and drag to move it around to have it fit. Now, if you want, you can connect them at the top. I would recommend that you probably connect them. You could do a multi-cut, but it's up to you if you want to leave it as is. But we're just trying to smooth it out. You could also go in object mode and do a smooth. That kind of brings it a little bit too much, but whatever you want to try to make this kind of a more interesting, more detailed model. So then, you know, if you want to adjust any of these points, you can. If you want to add any sort of detail or cracks, you can. You could always insert an edge loop, not offset, insert edge loop in the center here. You can play around. You know, you're making a nice rook, but nothing says it can't be a little bit more stylized. It's up to you. Then you just need to check your UV editor now that you've added some more detail. It's still working, so you should be okay to use this one for your high poly model. All right, so I hope this helps, and let me know if that makes sense.